Da, 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 da. AR Nathan presents US 190. The full route of US 190 goes from near Iraan, Texas to Slidell, Louisiana. It goes through a good portion of both states. Before I continue, I would just like to remind you that this is a video made to inform/entertain viewers with highway signage and other sites and facts about the road. I have nothing against any cities in this video, just their status as control cities. If I mispronounce a city name, please leave the correct pronunciation in the comments. Thanks and enjoy. Do everything you see in the lower left here to like, comment, share, subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's get started by talking about US 190 eastbound. So at its beginning, this is off of Interstate 10. We're assigned for Iraan and McCamey. McCamey is for Farm Road 305, and Iraan is for 190. And here's a reassurance shield for both highways. And we get a single line sign for Iraan. I probably am mispronouncing that one. There's probably an extra syllable. And now we have El Dorado 89 as we get closer to Iraan. El Dorado is how we pronounced it in Arkansas. But now we get Sheffield on this sign and now El Dorado, which is kind of weird. Sheffield's, I think, a control city for a different highway. It's not for 190. But a little further, we have El Dorado here in Iraan, 79 miles. I think that's an okay choice. Again, US 190 is very rural through here. It's very barren. And as we get a little closer to El Dorado, we have Menard on the sign now at 100 miles, which I think is an okay choice. Here in El Dorado, we meet with US 277, and we are concurrent with it. We get San Angelo, Menard, and Sonora for our choices, and we will be joining US 277 North. And here is the end of the concurrency. We just get Menard signed. And now we get Brady beyond Menard. And Brady, I think I do agree with, because there's several highway junctions in that city, so you have a multitude of options. Here in Menard, we meet with US 83, and we will be concurrent with it. We're assigned for Eden, Brady, and Junction. And once the end of the concurrency happens, we see East 190 is now assigned for Brady only. And now we have Brady 33 and San Saba 76. I'm not 100% sure what I would pick after Brady, but we'll keep going. As we get closer to Brady, we just have Brady 12 miles. Here in Brady, we meet with US 87 and 377, and we will be concurrent with both here in Brady. And here is the end of the US 87 concurrency. We see left lane for both of these highways in downtown Brady. And then here is the end of the US 377 concurrency. We're now assigned for Rochelle and San Saba. And we have both of those cities signed now. And now we have San Saba and Lampasas. I think for now, I think right now it's actually signed Killeen and Fort Hood, or Killeen or Fort Hood. I wouldn't sign Lampasas, at least not as a primary. A secondary, sure, I think it's fine as a secondary. But yeah, I think after possibly Brady, I would sign both of those. And then now we have Lometa and Lampasas signed on our way to it. I think I was in San Saba. Here in Lometa, we meet with US 183, and we'll be concurrent with 183 South. And our next mileage sign, or our first mileage sign, we have Coppers Cove 35 and Belton 61. Belton is past Killeen and Fort Hood. Why are we signed for a city beyond Killeen and Fort Hood that is smaller? I know that's where you meet I-35, but still. But we do see a mileage sign beyond here And we have Lampasas 16 and Austin 84. And Austin is for US 183, and I do like to see that. So I think this is a good mileage sign. The other one I think could have used some work. Here we meet with US 281. And our choices here are for Hamilton and Burnett. But we do see a sign up ahead, and it says Belton and Austin. Austin definitely works, but Belton, come on, just sign Killeen or Fort Hood. And here at the end of the US 281 concurrency, we have Burnett and San Antonio sign, which those are good. And now we have Fort Hood. I refuse to say the new name. And we also have Killeen and Belton. So that's actually a good sign because Killeen is now on there and Fort Hood, or at least a Fort Hood equivalent. Even though I would never call it an equivalent. And now we have Belton on there too, so that's fine as long as those other two are on there. And now we just have Copper's Cove. We don't have Killeen, Belton, or Fort Hood signed. We just have Copper's Cove. They could write a second line here. Texas, come on. But here in Copper's Cove, we now have Killeen signed, so at least they acknowledge it exists. As we merge onto I-14, we see this is the end of US Business 190, and then this is going to turn into I-14, so we'll be concurrent with it. And we see a reassurance sign for both 190 and for I-14. Here on I-14, we meet with 190 Business for TJ Mills Boulevard and Bernie Beck Main Gate. This is roughly the main Fort Hood exit. And now for I-14 and East 190, we have Belton and Temple sign. I don't care for those too much on I-14, but for 190, I actually think those are good for 190 because it goes to both of those. Temple's fairly big, especially for US highways, so I think I'm okay with this for 190. This used to be 190 signage anyways, so yeah, I think this is fine. As we approach the end of I-14, or at least the current segment of I-14, we meet with a street that takes you to Interstate 35. We just get signed for Connell Street, so they do this Atlanta thing with I-35 South, even though, like, yeah, you have to cut off on some streets. I feel like they should put a Control C there instead of Connell Street. This used to not even be an overhead sign, but they actually have it as an overhead sign, so at least it's a little better. I do hope they rebuild this into a better interchange too. And then further on, the only indication that we get that I-14 is ending is we get this mile 301 and then this exit 294A Central Avenue in 3/4 of a mile. So the mileage changes because we are merging onto Interstate 35, but there's nothing telling us that we are. I think they could put something on this overpass list, though, that we're going to be on Interstate 35. And just off of Interstate 35, we meet with exit 299 for East 190 for Gatesville and Cameron. I think those are fine. You could argue it should be like Bryan and College Station, because 190 is roughly the fastest way there, but it's a pretty indirect route there. Like, you have to do a bunch of zigzagging on other roads. So I think I'm okay with Cameron here. And then our next mileage sign, once we leave Temple, we have Heidenheimer 2 and Cameron 26. Here in Cameron, we are signed for Milano and Rockdale going straight, and then we have Waco for going north on US 77. Good sign there for 77 as we meet it. Then Milano and Rockdale split here. Rockdale's for 77 and Milano is for 190. Again, I think that's an okay choice just because of the way 190 is being angled. Now we have Milano 9 and Caldwell 26. Caldwell, I believe, is for a different road than the one we're taking, but it is more straight, so I understand them signing it. And now we get Caldwell and Hearn signed. Hearn, I think, is the next good choice. And then Rockdale for going the other way on US 79 as we become concurrent with it. And we get both of those cities on the next mileage sign. And here in Hearn, we are now signed for Bryan. So I think this is a good time to start signing Bryan. Kind of wish College Station would be on there too. It seems like they're a little stingy about signing College Station, as we'll see. And then for State Highway 6, we get Franklin and Waco. So they signed Waco on State Highway 6, which I do actually agree with. That was a good sign. Here in Bryan, we exit for Madisonville and Caldwell. Madisonville, I believe, is the next best choice. I do wish that we could find some pull-throughs in this area, or at least control cities of some kind. There's just not really control cities of any kind in Bryan. A little strange. And then we have another mile sign. We have Curtin 6 and North Zilch 19. I think they should rename the city to North Zilch because its population is just north of Zilch. But North Zilch 12 and Madisonville 24, so that's a better sign. Here in Madisonville, we meet with Interstate 45, and we will be concurrent with I-45 South. And then once we leave I-45, we see East 190 is just time for 11th Street. I feel like they could put something here, either like Huntsville or Livingston or something. But we do get Livingston signed here in Huntsville. So I think that is the next best choice. And then we have Livingston 14, Woodville 47. Woodville, I think, is okay because we meet two other U.S. highways there. So I think I'm on board with that. Here in Livingston, we meet with US 59. And then just past that, we have Indian Village 16, Woodville 32, and Jasper 60. Jasper, I think, is a sensible choice after Woodville. Here in Woodville, we meet with US 287 and 69. We are signed for Lufkin and Beaumont for these roads, which are good choices. Now we have Jasper 28 and Newton 44. Newton's a little provincial. I would probably just go with DeRidder here. Then here in Jasper, we are still signed for Newton going straight. And then we have San Augustine, which is alright, you know. And then Kirbyville, which is definitely not alright. For our next mile sign, we get Newton 15 and DeRidder 51, so that's a better sign. So at least they acknowledge Louisiana exists. And here is the last mileage sign I could find in Texas. We cross the Sabine River and we enter Louisiana. Louisiana is going to be extremely light on mileage signs. So here is one I found. We have DeRidder 19. So, okay, we got a decent choice. And then here we meet with 171 is signed for Fort Johnson and Shreveport. So Shreveport is definitely good to see on there. I like that. 171 goes to Lake Charles, which I believe we're already converged with 171. But I do think it is the correct choice because 190 doesn't really go anywhere big for a while. So I think I'm okay with giving the control city the 171. And then here, when these two roads split, we are signed for Kinder and DeQuincy. Kinder, it's going to be one of those. Then we have Kinder 12, Baton Rouge 117, which Baton Rouge is a pretty cool sign right here. We're probably not going to see it again sign for a while. We're probably going to get some smaller places, but it is kind of cool that they have a sign right here. Here in Kinder, we are signed for Elton. Not too sure about that. But we do have Elton 7, Eunice 23, and Opelousas 48. I think Opelousas is probably the next primary control I would agree with because it meets with I-49 and is about 20,000 people, so it's big enough for it to be signed on a U.S. highway. And then here, we are still signed for Opelousas, and then we have Church Point being the state highway. Here we meet with I-49. We were signed north for Alexandria, and then we are now signed for Baton Rouge, which is absolutely correct because now it is the fastest way to Baton Rouge. And we even get it on the mileage sign, so that is great. Meet with US 71 is also signed for Alexandria, and Baton Rouge maintains its status on the signs. We meet with Louisiana Highway 1 North for new roads and Marksville, and this was requested by at Workstation and Matt Weibler. Thanks for the requests. And we also meet with Louisiana 1 South for Port Allen and Plaquemine. And we also see a 2 I-10 and 2 Interstate 110 shields right here, so that's cool. We go across this bridge and we have a look over. This is one part of Baton Rouge. We see all these, all these plants out here. And then going forward, we are signed for New Orleans. 190 doesn't really go to New Orleans, but it is the fastest way there because we meet with 110, and I believe that's the way you get to I-10 to go to New Orleans. Then we also meet with Business 61 over here. And we meet with 61 North for Scenic Highway in Scotlandville. And then 110 is signed for Natchez and Baton Rouge. 61 goes to Natchez, but 110 is a slightly faster way there. And then here, 61 South, New Orleans, Business 61 and 190 West for downtown, and then 190 East Hammond next right. Hammond, I think, is a good choice for 190, not so much I-12, but 190 goes kind of side by side with I-12, so I think is a good choice. It's not the fastest way there. I-12 is technically faster, so I think I would probably sign maybe a Baton Rouge suburb or something along with Hammond, just to have a place that's faster to take this exit to get to. Not a whole lot in terms of signs on the way. We see one here in Denham Springs. It's signed for Walker. And then here in Livingston, we are signed for Hammond. And then here in Hammond, we meet with Interstate 55. It's signed for Jackson, New Orleans, just how it should be. And this was also requested by Matt, so thanks for the request. Here in Hammond, we also meet with US 51. We will be, it's weird that we have 51 here and then just 51 going straight with 190. I'm pretty sure these roads are not concurrent. And this is also requested by Matt. And here we meet with Interstate 12. It's signed 12 West Hammond and 12 East for Slidell. So yeah, I'm not too sure about these choices. 12, I would probably sign either Gulfport or Mobile, just because like it is kind of a bypass of New Orleans, and I think one of those cities would be a little more helpful. Even Biloxi would probably be a better choice than Slidell. Slidell is where you meet with 10 and 59, so I understand the reason for it being signed. And then 12 West Hammond, they're signing that because you meet with I-55. I would probably just go with Baton Rouge there. But we don't have a pull-through sign going straight. But off of I-12, we are signed for Covington and Mandeville, which I think are fine because there's faster ways to Slidell. And then here in Slidell, we meet with US 11. Dirtbog, I believe, made a video on US 11, so go check it out. Meet with I-10 again. We are signed for New Orleans, which is great. But Bay St. Louis, come on. Like, same thing with I-12. Should be either Gulfport or Biloxi or Mobile. Not Bay St. Louis, because 10 doesn't really go there. It's a US 90 control city. So I think US 90 should be signed for that, not I-10. But that's just me. And here, meet with Business 190, and we get a 2 I-10 shield here, and then 190 for going left at the stoplight here in Slidell. And then here is the very end of 190. It goes dead end into its parent route, US 90, and that will be the end of 190 East. And my final verdict for 190 East is eastbound Iraan, El Dorado, Menard, Brady, and I'd probably co-sign San Saba with Colleen or Fort Hood. And then Lampasas, same thing. Copper's Cove, same thing. And then once past Colleen and Fort Hood, I would sign Belton and Temple. I think that sign's okay for 190. And then Temple after that, once you split off of 35. And then Cameron, Milano, Hearn. And then I would co-sign Bryan and College Station. Then I would sign Madisonville. And then I would sign Huntsville and Houston, like Huntsville for 190 and then Houston for I-45. And then I would sign Livingston because you meet with 59, Woodville because you meet those two other highways, then Jasper because you meet US 96, then DeRidder because of 171, and then Lake Charles because that's where 171 goes to. And then Kinder, Opelousas, Eunice, Opelousas. Those are fine secondaries, but I would sign Opelousas. And continuing on, Baton Rouge. I think just Baton Rouge is fine. No need for anything else. Besides the Baton Rouge suburbs, and then Hammond. Once we exit off of US 61, then Hammond only, then Covington, Mandeville, Slidell, and then I'm fine with signing Bay St. Louis past Slidell because you meet with US 90, so I'll just give it the US 90 control city there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Y'all absolutely killed it on the last video. As of recording this, I gained 10 new subscribers from that video, and it's sitting at maybe about 400, 500 views, so y'all like showed me a great return, and I look forward to making more videos for y'all. So thanks for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed.